not a bad pick by any stretch of the imagination. Good ganks, gets a lot of health, a lot of regen, can be really nasty to deal with. Though, like I've said before, I'm sure there's one champion that we absolutely expect to either see picked or banned in this game, and we're going to get a chance to see it right now.
Are they right now? We mean in at most 20 seconds. You see a Caitlyn ban come out. That could be because the Olaf Zerks might play a lot of Caitlyn, or just because, again, they just don't want to deal with it.
Looks like they're just heavy banning the ADs. I would really enjoy to just see one game when every AD is banned, just over and over and over. A least ban being thrown out. Okay, that's a little bit interesting.
Ooh, so
and are they gonna? Maybe they're gonna try and first pick. Oh, excuse me. They're gonna try and first pick away a champion. Or nope. There's the Thresh pick. Thresh, a really strong support going down in lane. How do you feel he stacks up with some of the other ones, Frost?
He's just got great initiate and decent harass with his long range auto attacks. So he's pretty solid support. I feel like he's fallen out of a bit of a favor lately. You see a lot more Lulu, Nami nowadays. So and even the occasional Annie.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's kind of again shifting back. I don't know if shifting's the right word, but we're seeing a lot of poke champions and a little less of those.
We actually see Kale the last ban, so it looks like that was definitely a targeted ban. Kale is not usually a worthy ban unless someone heavily plays it.
Yeah, do we know of anyone that heavily plays it on the team? Maybe they saw some play going on earlier that we have not.
Or they could be planning on picking a Zed.
Quite possibly.
Because Kale just tells Zed to go away.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of AD going on from...
There's the Lee Sin.
There is the Lee Sin that I was really hoping to see. And there's a Vayne pick, which, looking at Bowser's profile, it looks like Bowser's a heavy Vayne player. Yep. And we all, anyone that's seen Super Saiyan Pikachu for more than a couple of games knows that he is a heavy Lee Sin player, though it looks like... for the most part in the last couple of games I've seen a lot of Renekton from him. So it looks like Renekton and Lee Sin are kind of the two champions he really enjoys working with. Over on the other side, Varus Thresh. That's going to be a really nasty lane for anyone that's unfortunate enough to end up against that.
Right.
Yeah.
However, I saw Bowser play Vayne, and he did a really good job. He had good positioning and good mechanics on Vayne.
Well, he's definitely going to need it because there's going to be a lot of poke and there's going to be a lot of kill potential coming down on Blue Team, especially at level 6. If they have the possibility to put him into the box, and then if he tries to get out to it, immediately lock him down with Varus again. So it could be a really nasty lane to deal with. I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing one summoner spell over another when it comes down to the time to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
We see Jarvan being hovered over right now. Just a callback almost to Saint Vicious just saying Jarvan's strongest jungler in the game. So we'll see if he ends up being a jungle or if he actually ends up going into a lane somewhere. So.
Yeah, Jarvan really, we've been seeing him. He goes top occasionally. He goes jungle very frequently. I've been starting to see him bottom, and I really wish that I wouldn't, because these Jarvan kill lanes can just be the bane of my existence. I tried to play Ashe one game, and I was like, oh man, jungle Jarvan, that's not going to be bad. And then I'm like, wait a minute. They also have Lee Sin, and they also have Mundo. Where's that Jarvan going? What's he doing? And I did not win that Ashe game.
And it looks like we're seeing a Nami hovered over.
Oh, Gruber Grager's on the field, one of my favorite champions. And that's something I'm really going to look forward to seeing.
Gragas was actually one of the most played champions in Worlds.
Absolutely fantastic. He's really deceptive in his skill cap and in his ability. A lot of people feel that he's just kind of, all around decent but not great, but he's got huge amounts of regen. He's got this huge all-in potential. He can be a huge bully in lane, even though he's a melee against casters a lot of the time. He can really be a nasty thing. And even if he's not doing well in lane, he's got this really safe farming potential once he gets his Q up, and his ult can absolutely make or break a team fight. Just really disgustingly nasty.
And what I'm seeing right now from We Are Still Suck is they are running Nami Gragas, so the amount of disengage they have already is through the roof, and not even to mention the Lee Sin kick either.
Yeah. And not even that, they just, not only do they have a huge amount of disengage, but they have such huge disruption in the enemy team's position. Lee Sin able to kind of kick the tank straight into the back of the fight, leaving everyone vulnerable. Nami's able to bubble someone, got that wall of water, the tidal wave, to kind of keep everyone on their toes. Gragas can separate him out, Vayne can separate him out if need be. Just huge amounts of disengage and damage.
While we see on the other team, on Olaf Zerks, they're going with huge amounts of engage and damage.
Absolutely. Kennen and Jarvan, great synergy there. Varus, also some great synergy. Thresh as well. Looks like they're going to be trying to either pull a champion in and then sort of sit on them, or just see if Jarvan can get it on as many people as possible, hold them there, keep everyone nice and compact so that they can do their damage. It's going to be really, really exciting to try and watch how, I think particularly Gragas and Nami try and deal with that.
Right.
We've got an Ahri pick going on Gragas, and that can be kind of a weird matchup. In my
From
opinion.
everything that I've seen, Gragas wins lane against Ahri.
It really depends. It really does. If Ahri is able to consistently poke him without really being open to punishment in return, she can kind of force him down a bit, because that true damage on her orb rips right through when he's in his drunken rage.
And I think Reed might have cut out.
I had to sneeze for a second there.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that.
I was like, what?
Yeah, so it can rip right through his drunken rage. But if she tries to jump onto him and he's anywhere near his tower, she runs an extreme risk of him going, okay, as long as you're going to be going to me, you're going to be going and saying hi to my nice friend tower, and I'm going to go ahead and just come in right behind you, slow you down, try and body block you. So she has to be absolutely careful that if she's going to get anywhere near his side of the field with her ultimate, that she at least saves a third dash or is prepared to be eating some tower shots.
Right. And
Yeah,
we see Zed last pick for Pikachu, so they actually kind of mind-gamed a little bit. They picked up that Lee Sin, making people think that, Robin's going to be playing that Lee Sin, but it turns out he's just going to pick Zed.
Yeah,
So
that's,
he also plays a fantastic Zed. I'll be excited to see it.
Yeah, he really very high mechanical skill player, very great knowledge on kind of the ebb and flow of the match with objectives. And Lee Sin and Zed are both really great 1v1ing champs, so they really run the danger that if their top falls behind and gives Pikachu that advantage, that leaves him a huge opening to exploit and either kind of run his laning, then go help out mid or help out in a dragon fight, or if he feels that his team's doing well or can waste enough time, he can just keep pushing all day, and they've got to respond with one or two people, and provides maybe some mismatches elsewhere.
Right. And unblock the summoner spells now, so pretty standard we're seeing. We see 2 ignites on both teams. We see an exhaust on both teams, and we actually see the only difference really is cleanse on Vayne versus the barrier on Varus.
Yeah, and
the cleanse makes a lot of sense just because blue team has so much CC and engage that Vayne's going to need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, in purple team, they have a lot of repositioning, but the only thing they really have to lock him down is a condemn from Vayne and a bubble from Nami. So as long as he's feeling pretty comfortable about dodging those, there's not a huge amount of crowd control he really has to worry about on that cleanse.
Right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, so how do you think these teams are going to be looking for, early game, transitioning to mid, even in the late game? What do you think each team's going to be looking to do to kind of force each other out and maybe start levering advantage onto each other?
I think the purple team is looking to bully in lanes. They look like they got almost all the picks they wanted, and a lot of their characters just win lane. The only lane that doesn't really win, per se, is bot lane, so Nami Vayne versus Thresh Varus. That can go either way, depending on how the lane is played out.
Yeah.
But from what I can tell, I think Zed does better against Kennen than the other way around. And the same thing with Gragas versus Ahri. I think Gragas has the advantage there. So I think purple team is looking to just take that advantage and then just rush down objectives because they have huge amounts of damage. And the good thing about their team is it's really hard to engage on them once they all get their ults.
Yeah, especially since it seems blue team is really kind of more, maybe not relying on all-out team fights, the big full five, but it seems like they're definitely hoping that they'll get more than 1 or 2 people trapped. So if purple team can get this advantage, start forcing mismatches, maybe Zed going up in the top lane, or if bot lane goes really well, kind of forcing them to stay split out. If they can keep them apart, I think that's really going to lessen blue team's effectiveness.
Right.
And I think that's really what they're going to be looking for. Try and keep them running as fast as possible without being able to condense.
Right. And level 1 should actually be really interesting because I think blue team by far has the advantage in this level 1. The only thing that blue team would have to worry about would be the Nami bubble.
Yeah, and that's a good point. We have some really great damage, especially Ahri and Varus, really good, especially since you kind of see some small clusters in those level 1 team fights. If they take place in a jungle, that could give them really good advantage. Thresh with a nice hook. On the other hand, Nami with a bubble. So yeah, probably I agree with you there.
So we have a potential charm coming out of Ahri if she chooses to take it. So.
Yeah, not to mention that Jarvan flag. I think Jarvan takes flag first.
He takes flag first.
So yeah, so that's going to be a nice buff to armor and damage for the rest of his team.
Right.
Yeah, and look at that. We managed to actually talk the entire 3 minutes, and it's time for my favorite part of any game whatsoever. Skin Intimidation, where we're going to decide a match entirely on how much riot points people have dropped onto this game for their favorite champions.
Loading, loading, loading.
Yeah. And here we go, Scuba, Groggy, Acolyte, Lee Sin, Dragon Slayer, Vayne, and Shockblade Zed. Some very nice champion skins down on the bottom. Up in the top, we only have Arclight, Varus, and Warring Kingdoms. Frostwolf, I think this is pretty clear-cut. Who are you giving the Skin Intimidation to?
Well, I gotta just give it over to Purple Team, because they have Dragon Slayer Vayne, and everyone knows I love dragons.
Yeah, so gotta hand it right there. Seems pretty clear-cut. Purple Team taking that Skin Intimidated.
Taking that Skin Intimidated, huh?
Yeah. Yep, I'm not really sure what I was doing with that. Not sure I want to talk about it.
Aight.
There you go. So getting in the game, looks like Kennon's maybe a little bit of a slow loader. Maybe kind of sent a power surge into his router on accident. I'm not sure I want to talk about that joke either at this point.
I don't think his router would have anything to do with how fast he loads. Now, it wouldn't have as much to do with it as, like, his computer being bad.
Terrible jokes.
Terrible jokes.
Ho ho ho. And yeah, a couple people in chat talking about the elo difference. And I'd say there's definitely, there's always some argument. Some camps feel that elo really has no correlation to how well you are, and some people feel it does. I personally feel that there's, a correlation between your elo and how well your play is.
Right.
So, if it was just on elo, then I think Purple Team would have a bit of an advantage. 2 diamonds, some golds, some silvers versus some silvers and golds. But you know what? It's not just about the elo. That's maybe an initial indication, but both these teams obviously have earned their way into the finals, and I think both these teams are going to have really great players. So by no means should we be counting, I believe Olaf Zerks is blue team, and Team We Are Still Suckers Purple Team. By no means should anyone be counting blue team out of this game. They've got a great composition. They're a great bunch of mechanical players, so this is still going to be a very exciting game.
Teamfight UI, please.
Okay.
Let me organize my...
Organize your little bobbleheads.
Yep.
Yep. There we go. And I'm actually organizing mine, even though no one's ever going to see it.
Alright, so we're seeing pretty standard pickups from both teams. Like, in fact, their builds are almost exactly mirrored, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Groggy and Ari matchup particularly, I think is a good call. I don't know about Ari, but Groggy taking Dordan Rings in a 2-pot. He used to go with the oh, and there we go, kind of an early walk-in. They are walking right across that word that blue team put down, so
right.
Blue team does know they're there.
However,
which maybe gives
Zed
blue
isn't
team a bit of
there.
an advantage here.
They know that Zed isn't there, so they
Yeah,
might try and fight that.
Oh, are we going to see a hook? We do have hook taken from, and here we go. Here they come. They're going to be face checking. There's the charm going on from Ari. A pull going in as well. Bubble knocking him up, maybe giving Lee Sin the out, and he is going to flash out. But that does kind of leave red team in a bit of a bad spot. 5 against what really is resulting in kind of just 2 and a runner. Nice escape from Lee Sin and a great bubble from Nami there, keeping the damage off him for just long enough that he was able to flash out, though definitely kind of advantaged blue team off of that.
Right.
Here. Yeah, fortunately, only about 1:30 into the game, and it doesn't look like blue team's going to follow up and try an invasion of their own. So honestly, besides those summoners, we saw an Ignite going down from Ari, we saw a flash on Varus, we saw a flash on Lee Sin.
Right.
Honestly, red team lost the fight, but they forced 2 summoners as well as the summoner off of Varus, who's kind of an unsafe lane in that he doesn't really have a whole lot of escapes, even if he is with Thresh.
Especially since he's against Nami.
Yeah, so really, even though they got out damaged since Lee didn't die, it really worked out quite nicely for them.
Right. Quick note, I should probably turn down the sound actually.
Yeah.
What's the button for Teamfight UI, or do you not know yet?
Tab.
Tab?
Oh, Teamfight UI. Is
Right.
that the special one where like health bars and whatnot pop up?
Yep.
No idea.
Could you look that up so I don't block the stream?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Absolutely. So we'll look at not going to be camera control, so we're going to look at an interface.
Oh, see Vayne get hooked down bottom.
It's A.
Okay. Vayne took a lot of damage from that, and she's down to below half health already. Same thing for Varus, but it looks like blue team came out ahead in that trade, so...
Yeah, and Vayne does, of course, have that 6% lifesteal. Lifesteal Quince, really, really popular. Varus, on the other hand, only with 4%. Not sure where the rest of that went into. Looks like, no, 5/8 armor pen for each of them, so I'm not really sure where that's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
See Lee Sin slipping in up top, looking for a lane gank on Kennen.
Yeah, and that can work. Kennen usually, I think, takes W at level 2 instead of E unless he's feeling really unsafe. So he may not be left with an escape, besides his flash, of course, which, you know, against this he can always flash back out.
And Kennen actually doesn't have... He only has one ability right now.
Yeah, I think that's a little strange. I wonder if, since there's not really anything he's doing with it, if he's just saving it to see what he feels like.
He probably senses the gank and was saving it to take Lightning Rush in case he needed it.
Interesting. Looks like he took Lightning Rush.
Jarvan coming up.
Down in the bottom lane, still some good damage going on. Vayne, can I get a hot spot?
Jarvan taking a lot of damage up top. He's forced to flash. Kennen forced to flash as well. So...
Yeah, definite advantage there for Red, and oh man, they're looking like they're doing some good damage. Doesn't look like they want to die, which I think is a good option because they would really run a risk there. But they're definitely keeping a lot of pressure on this. I wonder if they're thinking maybe they can get them down to a point where they could poke them to where they want to fight. Not really certain about that because it is really early level, and that would be really dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. Mid lane, both people at about half health, though this is where Gragas really shines because every time he uses an ability, he's going to be regaining 2% of his max health, and his W is going to be giving him mana back, so...
Jungle, Lee Sin's found Jarvan.
Yeah, and oh, here we go, Jarvan caught, I don't know if out of position's really the case here, but he's very low, and it's not going to be able to get finished because Ahri is coming to his rescue, and really great awareness from that. I think Jarvan probably would have escaped all the same, but...
Right, if Lee Sin had landed the Q, though, it could have been a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was pretty dangerous, and it looks like Lee is going to be taking a couple of puppies with him as he walks out. Nice kind of a cold ward going down on the bottom. We have a pink ward in each bush, which I really enjoy, because both of these champions, these supports, can do a lot of damage if they get into a bush and are allowed to really kind of wreak havoc there.
Right.
Yeah.
And Lee Sin was thinking about a gank middle, but Gragas had just pushed it a little too far.
And again, here's what I was talking about. Gragas really... doing a great job of just constantly lying the harassment on and getting his own stuff back up.
Right.
Yeah.
Saw some good damage go down on Vayne bottom. Vayne, or on the Thresh. Vayne condemned Thresh into the wall and did. Got a Silver Bolts proc and took Thresh down really low.
Yeah. And Vayne is taking her Silver Bolts first. I know some people feel that Condemn is a good first max, which I kind of really hugely disagree with. I think that's really not a reliant strategy. A lot of people take Tumble first, which I do actually like. I guess she feels that she's getting off enough of her 3-hit combo that Silver Bolts is worthwhile.
And we see both Jarvan and Lee Sin coming in for ganks bottom, so this should be a fun 3v3.
Yeah, I really feel so. How do you feel about Thresh using his Lantern right there? And oh, never mind, because there's the bubble going down, and he's taking a lot of damage. Is he going to get away? No, that is going to be first blood going down, and blue team's going to have to start walking out of this. Just managed to catch him there. And there's some damage. Jarvan trying to cut him off and force it, but she did get that third shot off as well, so Varus is going to be backing.
So good pickup by purple team. Nami landed a great bubble, which just allowed Vayne to pick up that first blood.
Yeah. How do you feel about Thresh using that Lantern to pick up a couple of souls as Jarvan was coming in? Do you think maybe that was...
It's a pretty common practice just to use the Lantern to pick up souls, but I don't think it was a good decision at that current time.
Yeah, I think that might have. I think that really might have wasted some potential. And honestly, it could have. Had he used it just a couple seconds later, it would have given him a shield and given Jarvan an opening into that. So.
Right.
Not really sure there, but he did end up getting some souls, and it might have not made a difference in the fight anyway. So at least this way he did get something out of it.
I would expect some action up in the top lane soon. We see Zed at half health and Kennen at full health, and they both have their ultimates.
Oh, that's bad news. Ahri DCing, and there we go. Pause immediately going down for Fitness Pate there.
Okay, I'm blacking the screen out until they come back.
Okay. So, since we have, maybe a minute or two, why don't we talk about,
No minute for you!
No talking aloud. Why don't we go ahead and take a little bit of time, talk about some CS going on, Bri?
Looking at the top lane, we see Zed's ahead by about 10 CS. So it's kind of what I said early game, that Zed does have a bit of advantage over Kennen, because he can just clear out waves really well. Kennen can too, but Zed is just pushing his advantage really well. Mid lane, that's even. That's about what I expected.
Yeah.
I think Gragas will start taking advantage now.
Yeah.
Now that he's got the chalice under his belt, he should just be completely fine in that lane and might actually start looking to roam and pick up some kills. Vayne, she's got the CS lead just barely. Varus is going to make it up with this creep wave though. But she does have the kill lead, so she will be ahead in items.
And that's a good point. And you know, that's one thing that I really, I kind of got into this mid strategy, which is really kind of a dangerous one to be in, where, you know, I'm really bullying my my opponents, so I'm going to keep bullying them and farming. And it's really something that I have meant to walk away from and have started taking a lot of steps to do it. Because especially with a great champ like Gragas, who has, you know, great ganks and great mobility, you really want to get, I feel like, maybe some boots one if you really want to do like some heavy roaming, but you really want to just push your lane since he's so great at that, and then go and try and lever advantage onto another lane. Yeah.
Which might be what he's looking to do right now.
Quite possibly, yeah. Both of them level 7, still not seeing a whole lot of action. Undish Codex, which I don't know if that's unusual, but that's not what
It's
I really would expect.
standard.
Okay.
Most Aries will rush DFG nowadays.
Okay, I don't play a whole lot of Ari, so good to know. And yeah, that DFG would be a nice bit of damage. Here we go, some good defensive warding on blue team there, making sure that red really can't go. The red jungler really can't go anywhere down bottom from his side of the jungle without knowing about it.
And blue buff handed over to Gragas.
Yeah, pretty standard play, I think.
Ahri doesn't have her blue buff yet, so see how that develops.
Yeah, Kennen really has a lot of trouble getting onto Zed, right? Because I would assume that if Kennen tries to walk onto a Zed, can always start walking away or putting down a slow, and if Kennen ever tries to really straight up all in, then he can just use his shadow and...
Yeah, he can just shadow flash, and now look, I'm out of range.
Oh, and here we go, coming back in, and Jarvan is put into the back, but he's going to use his ultimate, his Cataclysm, to jump right back into that, and they are going to pick up a kill on Lee Sin. Really great Gragas dash to avoid the Jarvan ult, and a really nice follow-up on Lee Sin, but I think maybe he overcommitted just a little bit onto that, considering the damage output they had.
Right. Good fight by blue team. They picked up that kill on Lee Sin and actually gave red buff over to Jarvan. Get red buff refly.
And we're seeing mobility boots on Lee Sin. I would have kind of expected that that Mercury treads would have been the standard given how much crowd control blue team has. I guess he's just really doing kind of a gank heavy thing. How do you feel about that?
He's looking to gank a lot, but I think he also just felt like he was ahead. So I think he did that just to try and get more ganks off and try and apply pressure. But we really haven't been seeing him gank much, so I'm not terribly certain why he decided to go for the mobility boots.
No. Yeah, I guess maybe just kind of farther reinforcing, keeping blue team running, maybe trying getting around the map a little quicker than the enemy team, but I'm really not certain. I really would have thought that that Mercury treads would have been great for the crowd control. Alright, trying to throw out a charm, just barely misses, and there we go, Gragas jumping onto her. Not really caring. He's got that drunken rage, which gives him a nice amount of damage mitigation as well as increased attack damage. And here we go, Lee Sin coming up behind, and Ahri's ult is down, so she's a little vulnerable. She's got flashed up.
Jarvan top.
Yeah, and there we go, ward going down, and I really like warding the rampways because they immediately know that Jarvan's stepping out. They immediately know he's in the area. And if Lee Sin's feeling particularly aggressive, they're both standing here. Is this what they're doing? No, just barely missing the Q there. Unfortunate. And there we go, nice attempt at dodging from Gragas. Doesn't quite make it out, but again, he isn't really minding. He's maxing his body slam first, and what a lot of people forget is that body slam...
going down bottom.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Nice tidal wave going down, a good bit of damage on either side. Vayne's still kind of hurt, but we do see about half damage for either of the other teams. And one thing to keep in mind is that Nami has a heal, but Thresh and Varus don't, besides the innate lifesteal, so a little bit more sustain on red side.
Jarvan looking to get Gragas in mid, probably will pop the ult if he can get in range.
Yeah.
See if kill go down bottom.
Yeah, nice moves from Vayne, really getting that down. And Gragas is still trying to run, and Varus can't really shift into position with what the enemy team's got, so Varus, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to help too much. And they're actually going to be moving in onto Jarvan now. And Ahri's looked like was maybe going to walk back to mid lane. Yeah, she's going to be walking back to mid lane, kind of leaving him down here. And I don't think that's hugely risky. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, got Lee Sin jumping onto Kennen. Zed chasing off after as well. Kennen throwing his ultimate, trying to get him off of him. Lee Sin just barely misses the Q again, and is it going to be enough to get away? Yes, he does manage to dodge Zed's finisher there. He managed to dodge the Shuriken. And Ahri coming in maybe to finish up, and there's a nice charm going down, as well as a Q. Is it going to be enough? No, she's going to be flashing out, and Zed is also going to be walking. Nobody that can really follow up after that. So some really nice escapes from both blue and red top lane there.
Right, and we did see Gragas, since he saw that Ahri roamed up top, just start pushing on that turret with the bonus AD he gets from his
Yeah.
W.
Yeah, and a lot of people really don't realize Drunken Rage does give you a respectable amount of damage. At level 1, that's 30 extra AD, and his E also has an attack damage modifier on that. So he can really lay down a nice amount of damage, especially if you leave him to his own devices against a tower.
Right. And so far we only see a 1k gold advantage for purple team. It's really just coming from the first blood on Vayne and the 30 CS advantage on Zed.
Yeah, and I really like, even though Vayne is up 2 kills, Varus is still keeping relatively even on the CS, which I don't think is hugely surprising considering that he has some pretty good range.
Right.
Yeah.
He can just clear creep waves with his Q and his E.
Yeah. In mid lane, Nami and Gragas, Ari and Gragas, what am I talking about?
Mid lane,
Ari,
Nami, go!
Mid-name Nami, that's how you do it. Ari actually up about 100 thanks to that kill she picked up, though she is down about 15 CS.
Yep, and Jarvan was looking for a gank mid, but Ari pushed the lane too much and Gragas just backed up. So Jarvan actually looking for that bottom lane gank now.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're going to have another 3v3 situation where Thresh blew his lantern already again.
That's really unfortunate. Though you gotta admit, red team is really pushed up this time around. I don't think it's really quite as critical. But man, I don't know about that lantern. There we go. Jarvan is in. A nice tidal wave going off, and we see some lockdown going on to red team, so they're gonna be locked down. A lot of damage going on to Jarvan. Looks like he's trying to get out, but Lee Sin is chasing him. A really, really great play going from Thresh to try and push him right back off Jarvan. I don't know if it would have made the difference, but it's really nice to see that awareness and not just doing it to protect yourself, but to protect the team.
Right, and we did see Gragas taking some damage in mid while that fight was happening, and Ari might have been looking to dive, just based upon the positions on the minimap.
Yeah. And here we go, blue team kind of moving up a little aggressively, and there's Thresh jumping onto him, and a nice condemn followed up with a great bubble to lock him down, and that's what we've been looking for. Very little CC on red team, but when it all comes together like that, especially on just one person, it can be very lethal.
Right. And we did see Ari getting some counter damage in mid because she forced Gragas to back, and so turrets are roughly equal in health now. However, she just takes a good chunk of her health from damage from Gragas' barrel.
Yeah, and that's good. And rushing that DFG like you've been talking about. Meanwhile, Groggy going for the early Athenes.
And Zed actually got Kennen up top really low, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Zed dive once he gets to the turret.
Yeah, and Zed is starting to kind of creep ahead here, up about 40 CS by this point. He's got a Bilgewater Cutlass. Meanwhile, Kennen has very little lifesteal. And here we go, Vayne running beyond the tower, doing really large amounts of damage to Varus. He's going to be forced to back, and they're going to do some serious tower damage there.
Yep.
Yeah, up on the top.
They probably won't be able to get it, but they'll get some good damage onto it.
Up on the top, it's one of those inherent problems whenever you have an AD going against an AP, in that the APs generally have a lot more trouble sustaining than the ADs do. So Zed's free to just kind of lifesteal as much as he wants, and Kennen is just creeping lower and lower to the point that sooner or later he's going to have to back and give up more towers.
Yep. And Zed looking like up, he's going in.
And here we go, and Kennen trying to run away. Is it going to be enough? There's the Ignite. I think that's going to... Oh, yep. Just barely going to take him down with that Ignite. Great knowledge of exactly what Zed needs to do to finish it off and be aware of that explosion so he can just walk away without really exposing himself to a lot of risk there.
Right. And Ari actually backed in mid, so Gragas is looking to pressure that. He might be able to get this turret, especially since Jarvan just popped his flag and drag. And actually forces the Jarvan ult to try and defend that turret, so good play by Gragas. We see a pink ward go down on the dragon, Thresh trying to just keep that dragon control up. And Zed does get a turret up top from the cannon kill.
Purple Caster minions OP. And here we go, Lee Sin looks like they're going to be trying taking Ari's blue, and that's unfortunate. They are going to get it there, and they are going to walk away, and Jarvan coming in and realizing it's gone. I really like this aggressive warding as well. I'm sure that Zed's probably going to want to try and force his advantage as much as possible. So I really like they dropped that ward into the bush there.
So I just realized there was a weird bug going on my client.
Okay.
I had colorblind mode checked, but it was blue and purple, but had the blue and purple health bars. And so when I unchecked and checked it again, it went to green and red. And so I had to uncheck it and then check it again, and now it's blue and red.
That sounds extremely strange. Extremely strange. Extremely strange. Darn it! Words! Words! English is a hard language. Don't make fun of me.
It is a hard language.
Hardest language, apparently, is what I read. That it was the hardest language to learn for non-native speakers.
Yep.
I'd believe it. We do some weird things.
And Zed finished that Ruin King up top, so he's almost entirely got the advantage on Kennen, because Kennen does not have that Zhonya set to counter the Zed off.
Yeah, and a Ruined King going off on Vayne too, which I think is good. We're not seeing huge extreme amounts of bulk on blue team, but Vayne is so great at doing percent max health damage, and Zed, you know, they also get some nice slows that kind of add to that disengage. Right. Great lifesteal, just great items all around.
Especially with Vayne maxing Silver Bolts first, the amount of health shred she's going to have from that and her Ruin King is just going to be massive.
And here we go, they're using that warding awareness. They had that ward down there on the blue buff. I think Jarvan walked past it, and immediately red team went for the dragon because they know there's no way he can respond to it. And there they go, they take that dragon. Really nice use of those wards. They do pay for themselves.
Right. Vayne looking to get... Oh, Varus goes down.
And some good damage followed up with a tidal wave. Doesn't look like they're really going to try and do a whole lot, though Nami has... I don't know if putting herself a little too far out is the word, because Lee Sin is here. And here we go, jumping in, and there's a nice move passed on that ward. And are they going to be able to get it? I would be very surprised if they couldn't, and yet he's going to go down as well. 2 for 0 in that engagement. Really nice play from that Lee Sin, especially, I really love seeing him Q to someone and then jump behind with the ward for the kick.
Right.
Though I don't think he actually used the kick, did he?
He did use
Looks
the
like
kick.
he did.
It was the
did
finisher.
Use the kick, okay.
And Lee Sin might be found by Ahri.
Oh, dropping down that pink ward, walking away about as quick as he can. No, he's sticking around. Being kind of crazy there. Very aggressive. I guess Gragas does have that push, so, you know, if it really became dire, Groggy could use his ultimate. I guess not a huge amount of threat. And here we go. Looks like the tower is going to go down, and Groggy's looking for some. There's the charm going off, but Ahri's going to start trying to run, maybe drop as much damage as possible. There they go, putting her out. There's the E, but it's not able, and since he's used his E, he has to flash out, and Lee Sin trying to W out as well. And they're going to start doing a bit of chasing and flashing onto Gragas. Really, really wants it, but I'd be very surprised if he could get it, because for a tubby gentleman, Gragas is surprisingly nimble there.
Lee Sin might be getting pinned in just a second.
It looks like, yeah. For being pinned, he doesn't act
Zed diving on Kennen top.
Yeah, Zed taking another turret, and this is, you know, really great play. A lot of aggressive movement bottom is really keeping Kennen from getting any support that I think he kind of needs at this point. And is that going to be enough? Yep, again. Really keeping him from getting that support I think he kind of needs, and Zed's just really pushing hard with those advantages there. And Lee jumping down, there's a flash from Zed. They are going to be trying to run, and there's a nice kick. And is it going to be enough to get away? I think so, because Gragas is here. Meanwhile, down in the bot, another kill going on to Varus. So far, 8-0. About an 8,000 gold lead here for red team, so they're definitely playing the matchup extremely well.
And Jarvan's being chased by 3 champions up top. I don't see him escaping this.
Yeah, this is going to be rough for him. It looks like really the question is he going to get Lee Sin first? And the answer is no. Lee Sin being very slippery, kind of jumping from this to that. And also that Gragas barrel, which does reduce attack speed by 40%. So just a lot of kind of soft crowd control that no one ever really realizes about Gragas.
Right.
Probably helped a little bit. I don't know if it hugely contributed.
Meanwhile,
and there they go, chasing Thresh down. I don't think he's going to be getting away from this. There's an attempt at flaying him out, but no. Vayne taking that passive, using that move speed when she's going towards other people to just manage to catch up to him and take him down there.
They also get the turret. So not only did Vayne get 2 kills over that time period, but they also got that turret down bottom.
Yeah, and it's really
solidifying their 10k gold advantage.
Yeah, I think blue team has they have a very good comp. The only problem is their comp really, I think, relies on condension. Is condension the right word I'm looking for? You know, when enemies, champions condense on each other?
I guess.
Clumping? Let's call it clumping.
Clumping.
Clustering.
Clustering is also a good word.
Yeah. They really kind of rely on enemy champions clumping, and if there's not any clump going on, they really have... they're really kind of reduced to a point that blue team can spread out, and even if they lose one area, and Varus going to be going down. Even if they lose one in one area, they can win in the other 2. Or, you know, even if they hold even in one area, they can win in the other 2. And they're using this advantage in such a way that they're forcing blue to always be responding. And there we go. Ahri trying to jump on Nami. Is it going to catch her? Yes, it is. So that is going to be a second kill for blue team going down. Even when they can do it, there's just a point that red team is ahead enough at this point. And yeah, there's the surrender vote. Red team is ahead enough at this point that they really just can't keep up, and there's going to start being gaps in the defense.